Hello everyone, I'm back. Well, I had a very productive weekend. I got to craft almost all weekend and I got a lot done and I was pleased with that. Yesterday I had to take my mother in for her cataract surgery and this morning we had her post-op doctor's visit. So um, things are settling down over there now. She's home and she's comfortable. She says it's not as much pain in this one as there was in the first eye that she had done. So I was pleased with that. But anyway, I did a lot of things over the weekend that I want to share with you. And I'm going to use them as my 100 things challenge items. So let's get started. First of all, yesterday, why I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting for her to have her surgery, I had taken a magazine with me. I took this Make Special Cards magazine with me. I love buying these. I buy them at Michael's um, because I love the designs that they come up with. I think they're so pretty, and they always have the stamps and the paper and everything included. Um, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that as many times as I've purchased these magazines, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now, I have actually never done one of them. So while I was sitting there and I was looking through the magazine and stuff, I thought that would make a good item for my 100 items challenge. Um, use up the paper that they sent me and use the stamps that they sent me, and that'd be just one magazine I can check off of the list as having completed. So I came home, and last night after I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and bought my parents some dinner, and after we had dinner I was exhausted, so I laid down for a couple of hours, and around 8 o'clock last night I got up and I started making these cards. And I have used all but one of the cards in the pack. Um, so I still have a lot of paper left. I still have a lot of punch outs, a lot of things that I haven't used out of it. And I think I will continue with the same pack until I use the majority of the material and get that off of my mind. So these are the cards that I made, and I made them exactly according to their directions. That's the first one, and the second one. I made them mostly thanks and birthdays. Um, there were some that were supposed to be Mother's Day or Easter or something, and I didn't put those tags on them. I just put either a happy birthday or a thanks stamp on them because I don't think that I will use the Easter or the Mother's Day all that much. And I have no reason to send those cards out to somebody. So I stuck with what I thought I would use. And I made quite a few of them in just the short time last night. They're really easy to do. The one complaint that I had, their cards are 12.5 centimeters square. And most of the directions that they gave in the magazine were for like a 10.5 square card. So I adjusted some of the measurements and the cuttings that I did and stuff um, so that it would fit right on the card according to the picture that they showed. Um, at that point, I ran out of ideas in the book that I wanted to do. There were a couple of sheets that were supposed to be in the pack that weren't there, that apparently I've used them for something else. So there were a few cards I couldn't make exactly like they had shown them. But these next two cards, I just used scraps that were left over to make up a couple more cards. So that is, these are more or less my own design. And I think what I'm going to do is go back through them and add a little dots of bling or a little bow or something before I send them out to somebody, so that they're a little more special. So that was item number 1. Actually, it's item number 27. And that's make special cards. Okay, and so the next thing, I was looking for, well, we'll do that next, I guess. I decided that I have 3 or 4 people that I need to send IC cards to. So I made up just a bunch of IC cards. I took out my um, uh, why can I never remember the name of the stuff? The little cut pieces of paper and stuff that you get in packages for a collection. Um, I don't know why I can't remember the name of that. But anyway, I took that box out and I used only things out of that box. With the exception on this one, I got the butterflies out of my butterfly box and the feathers out of my feather box. But I made them fairly flat and simple. I haven't put anything on the back yet. I'll put my information on the back. And most of the card themselves are the 4x6 cards that you get that you just cut out. So I used those and just made up a bunch of IC cards. This one here, I had a piece of paper that I only had about a half of a sheet of a 12 by 12. So I cut the piece of paper because it matched the items that I wanted to put on it. So there's the second one. And this one here, I sprayed with a little glimmer mist after I was finished with it to give it a little blue glimmer mist to give it a little bit of sparkle. And this one, this was the first one I made, and I sprayed it with some pink glimmer mist, but just using things that were out of that box, so that I could just make up a bunch of very flat IC cards. All I have to do is stick my information on the back and they're ready to go. So that was the next thing I did this last weekend. So that's ICs. And while I was looking through that box of ephemera, is that what it's called? Ephemera? I came across this little pile, very slippery little pile, of envelopes and tags that were in the box. And I thought, oh, I'm going to make those up too. Come on, out of there. So it was just the glassine envelope, and it had the ribbon already glued on it. And I just put a little feather and a butterfly on the front. And then the card I stamped with a little saying at the top, and I put a little envelope at the bottom. And it can be used as a to or from tag for a gift, or this one says sending love your way. And I think all of the blue ones say sending love your way. So I had 5 blue cards and envelopes. So apparently I had used one already for something. And then the envelopes just hook in their own little latch on the back. And it makes a nice little gift tag. And then the other 6 that I had were in pink. And on the pink tags, I stamped love and some hearts down the side. And I just put a little pink flower with a little bling center on it for the pink ones. So there's 6 pink ones and 5 blue ones. So that makes a nice little pile of 2 from tags that I can use or send off to somebody. And I just think they were such a cute idea. I don't remember where I got them from or how long I've had them. But like I said, when I was going through the box, I came across them and I thought, oh, well, hey, let's use those up too. So that's number 29. And then my mother is always giving me old silk flowers that she doesn't want anymore. And she keeps telling me, well, maybe you can use them in your crafting. Well, you can't use a silk flower the way they're made in your crafting. They're too big, too tall, too fat. So I took a bunch of white roses apart and I made what to me looks like a gardenia. So I just took all the petals from the white roses and I glued them down on a circle. I glued 3 leaves behind it because I'm always told that you do things in odd numbers as far as leaves or decorations or something. If you do them in odd numbers, it looks better. So I ended up making out of 5, I think it was 5 of the white roses, I made 3 of the gardenias. And I thought, well, you know, they're a little bit big to be putting on something, but they would be great on a package, on the outside of a package. So I liked that idea. And then she gave me some orange tulips, and she gave me probably half a dozen orange tulips. And I tore them all apart and I made these. I took one of the leaves off of the stem of flowers. I took one of the little buds that were on each stem, and then I just cut all the petals apart and just laid them out on a circle. And then I took the center of the poppies all apart and relaid them inside these flowers. Again, too big to go on a project, but will look great on a package. So I ended up with 4 of these. So that is number 30, and that is redesigned flowers. And then I needed to make a decoration for someone. So I thought, well, I wanted to make a tag. She wanted something she could hang on her wall. So I thought, well, I'll make an extra large tag or a little wall hanging for her. So this is my wall hanging for her. I put 3 different dangles along the bottom, and on the dangles along the bottom there was stitching between this piece and this piece, and I cut that out so that the two would hang separately, and I did that all the way across with that piece of trim. The next piece of trim I used was let me see if I can get it here. Next piece of trim that I used is this one. And again, there was stitching between them, and I cut them all apart so that they hung separately. And then the third trim that I used were these individual dangles. One of them, I think it was the second one, I put all the way up on top of the card so that there was about an inch of it up on top of the card. But before we go any further on that, I hope you can see this napkin that I used as the background. That napkin was in my grandmother's stuff. When she died, my mom and I went through her things, and she had a whole bunch of napkins. And, you know, she was a member of Relief Society, which is a Mormon women's organization. And they would have, excuse me, luncheons all the time. And so she would always come home with 1 or 2 of these most beautiful napkins that you have ever seen. And so I took those and I hung on to them because I knew that I wanted to do something with them. They were just too beautiful to do anything else. So I put one on here and I decoupaged it with Mod Podge. I used the satin Mod Podge, and I put 3 of the flowers that I got from Modesto, my Modesto haul, down here on the bottom. I put this fuzzy trim up this side and a trim with bling on up this side. I took some little tiny pink sparkles and put them all over the back, whatever was left of the background after I put all the stuff on it. I put this saying on here, and I just think that this saying is so pretty. And it says, women wish to be loved without a why or a wherefore, not because they are pretty or good or well-bred or graceful or intelligent, but because they are themselves. And that's from Henry Frederick Emil. And I just thought that that was absolutely gorgeous saying, and I thought that she would like it. Then I put a piece of crochet doily, that a little scrap of it that I had on the top and the bottom. I put some flowers up here with some bling, a little tiny pink bow, and a lavender glass flower, and this wired beaded trim. On the bottom here, I put a couple of flowers, again, ones that I got from my Modesto haul, and a couple of little buds that were in with the flowers. Basically created the same as these, only they're smaller. Another lavender flower here, a little bit of this trim here on the bottom, another piece of the doily, and a little resin flower here. And then I put one of these glass, pink glass sprays that you get in the bridal sections. I put one on the top and one on the bottom. And then at the top, I put a chain so that she can hang it. And I didn't like the top because it looked too too plain compared to the rest of it. So I ended up putting this piece of lace over the chain. So you don't really see where the chain is hooked inside the tag, but it's there and it's usable. And then I found this little tiny bling in some bling that I had ordered quite some time ago. It was from China, um, and then I used this chunky charm, kind of a small chunky charm, but it's chunky charm, to put on hang on this side, and I hung it from the hook that's holding the chain. And I put some more pink bling up here in this area. And the back I just covered with the plain paper because it won't show anyway. So and I had some lavender feathers down here too. I thought that it came out very pretty, and I think that she will like it. I hope that she does, and I hope that she gets lots of beautiful things to hang in her home. Um, she deserves them. So that will be number 31 in my 100 thing challenge. And let's see. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. Those were the 5 things that I worked on this last weekend and last night. And that's for the 100 Things Challenge with Dances with Pit Bulls, Rebecca. And I guess that's all I have to say for right now. So I will probably be back soon to show you some other things. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a wonderful crafty day.